For us, this show is really important because I think we have a very special product, the Ampera E. And we saved it up for today to tell the world that we have a 500 kilometers range on the car. It will actually be beyond 500, we don't have the exact value. And it will be measured compliant to the NEDC test cycle. And that gives you comparison, right? Because that allows you to compare ourselves against the i3 or the Nissan Leaf or whatever. And until yesterday, we were 200 kilometers better than the best upper car in the segment. I take the Tesla out as a luxury product. Now Renault announced 400, but let's see. Anyhow, legally we can now only say we're 100 kilometers better than the next one, but I still think it's huge. And what's also very important, when you really drive the car, what can you expect from the car? And we are in the process of really identifying and measuring exactly the WLTP, which current measurements, we're absolutely confident it will be beyond 380. And that is really something everyone should be capable of achieving with the cars. We actually drove from London to Paris, and that's 417 kilometers, and we still had 80 kilometers in the tank. Obviously we drove careful, but we drove on real roads, in real traffic, under real conditions. And I think that shows you can drive everywhere with this car. So the car, we wanted to make a technology statement. We designed the car around the battery, so to make it efficient, to store as much energy in the car as possible. 60 kilowatt hours is a word, that's a large battery. With that large battery, that also has a lot of power. So we have more than 200 horsepower, and you can feel it if the car accelerates. You also, what I think is most amazing, the acceleration between 80 and 120 is better than our OPC cars. So even if you enter on a highway or something, you should be fine with the car, more than fine. And it should be really fun to drive. We added an infotainment system with the largest screen we have in the group because we wanted to show the world that this is a car for young people, a very connected car with special apps which tell you where the next charging station is. And so to make a car which can not only address the heads of people but also their hearts and become a car they want to own. And because I think we have to convince people that electromobility is not about what you not have and that you're limited, but you can go anywhere, you can use it every day. It's a fantastic car to drive. It can be your only car, not just your luxury or your second car. It is a real car. So, and that is what we are trying here. For Opel, it's very important for the brand, but it's also important because we want to transform our fleet more and more long term into electric. So it's great to be in the lead again.
So till now, there was always the question about autonomy regarding the electric cars. Now we are transforming it, and there's a barrier, a psychological barrier, that we are trying to step apart. Yeah.
In the end, I don't know.
Because no one really needs 400 kilometers.
Exactly. But still, it's a big problem if you can only go 300 theoretically and practically only 200. And then you're very worried if you want to go 180 or something. So we needed to give people the
confidence.
Yeah, the confidence, and specifically in times where the charging network is not everywhere closed. So you never know exactly what to expect and whether it may also be busy. So now you can be much more relaxed. And most people can drive it either all week and never charge it, or what I think more people will do because they don't have power charging facilities in their home, they can, if they drive whatever 80, 100 kilometers, they can charge it overnight easily on their normal home outlet power plant.
Did you consider to produce a version with less capacity? Or?
Yeah, that is a question I get a number of times today. I think it's a very good idea, good question. We don't want to differentiate the product too much now. We wanted to come with a product where exactly you address this range
I'll give you an example. So,
but in the future we could do that.
Renault is presenting a new version of Zoe, but they will continue to sell the old one. The same way with the i3. There's a new version, but they continue to sell the both versions. Yeah. So do you consider that?
Yeah, but for now we don't have an old version. We may at some point come up with a specific version for certain segments of the market. But we start like we are now, and our main selling argument is the range, so we don't want to make it more difficult.
Let's do a round of questions.
My very brief question: is the size correct for Ampera E? Because the old Ampera was bigger. At this time, I think a small car.
Yeah, but I don't know exactly about Ampera, but I would guess this car is even bigger from the inside. It has one seat more. And it is smaller from the outside than an Astra and bigger from the inside, that I can say. Because we designed the car around the battery. The battery is on the bottom, and then we built the car up on the battery with a little bit of engine and electronics in the front, but all the space is yours. And you feel it. If you have a large person sitting in front, you as a large person, you can also sit in the back and have no problems with your leg. Or if you turn over the rear seat, you have a lot of place. It's really huge. So it is. I truly believe an electric car, which is by any means efficient, can only be designed specifically as an electric car around the battery, and that's what we did here. The other car was mainly a combustion engine car with an electric function, and we made it look more in the package of a normal car.
Dave?
How definite is the decision not to make a right-hand drive version?
Well, it's not definite. It's unfortunately the current situation that in the first batch of product we don't have a right-hand drive. I personally believe we need one, and we will work on this. But as now, I also want to be very clear, we have taken priorities and it's not there.
Do you have plans to bring the Ampera, the US version to Europe as well?
The Volt.
Sorry, the Volt, yeah.
Well, currently I cannot announce something like that. Definitely, this is not the last product which we will have in this field. Yeah? But I don't want to say anything further.
Peter, John?
Everyone at the show is talking about EVs. What about hybrids? Are they still in the game, or are they on the way out, or how do you think about them?
No, I think hybrids is an intermediate technology, which you will see in larger cars, possibly also from us. But they are really an in-between technology, which will have some right of existence for some time, and they can help us a lot to achieve CO2 goals, and they can be a benefit for the customer as well. But it's in the end, it's a very expensive and very is not, I think, a good solution in the long run.
Do you develop a bigger car as Insignia, or Insignia is finished?
Yeah, well, we do a bigger car in terms of that we will do an SUV based on the Insignia platform. But beyond that, I get that question very often when we will build a large Opel again. But this segment is really small and it is shrinking and it is relatively conservative, so it would be difficult for us to go there. So there's honestly other priorities I would have, which we will first do before we go into the large car segment.
Many companies offer the SUV offensive, and when we will take the SUV offensive from Opel.
We're kind of like in the middle of it. When I came like 3.5 years ago, we had one, thanks God, and that is the Mokka, and it was extremely successful. It will be successful further because we just made a big facelift on it. But one thing was also very obvious: we don't have enough SUVs. And you like it or not, but SUVs is what people want to buy. So that's why we decided on the Insignia SUV, and we also decided that the Meriva and the Zafira, we extended now the life of the Zafira with another facelift. But these are shrinking segments. They were checked segments which were once invented by Opel, but they are shrinking now. We are still a strong player. But we would switch those cars to become crossovers, so more lifestyle, more SUV-ish. Not exactly like an SUV, because I also believe if if we want to take our CO2 challenge seriously, not all of us will sit in an SUV by 2020. But maybe we all want to sit in a car where you sit a little higher, you have the utility, and you have a little bit lifestyle with it. And that's what we're trying to offer you with the CUVs.
Gerhard, any?
Well, I don't know what was asked before, so...
Okay, sorry.
Everything.
So who do you see as the typical customer for the VRI?
You. Everyone.
No, I mean regarding the price and...
No, we want to convince the normal person. Because I do believe when you drive it, and I drove it a lot now, it's a car, I would miss nothing if this would be my car, my only car. And but people are hesitant, they don't know really what does it mean to have an electric car. We try to take them the fear of the battery life with 160,000 kilometers and 8 years of warranty on the entire drivetrain. We take them the range anxiety because we tell them you can drive everywhere, you have enough of battery. Now we need to convince them that this really could be their one car.
When we'll see the car in our markets, step by step, or starting with West Europe, Central, East?
We will tell you that very exactly in a few weeks or months later this year. Today and here we're not talking about prices, we're not talking about markets. So we will have a specific introduction which we will show you then.
There was one question.
Yes, now you got one.
What will happen with the plant in Vienna, Aspen, and the employees after 2018 when the engine manufacturing will be ceased?
Well, we said we want to find a product, preferably a gearbox for Aspen to be built, and that's what we're clearly working on with our product planning and with the Aspen factory.
Rob.
We're now talking about future, electric drive. What I'm wondering about is how do you look at diesel development? I suppose you can only spend your buck once. If I listen to, for instance, Tina Müller, she envisages that the importance of the diesel engines will go DCs.
Well, if we are honest to ourselves, we all want to drive large cars like SUVs, and still we want to achieve fleet targets. And in an SUV, there's only two ways how you can achieve this: with a modern diesel engine or with a hybrid. And both of these technologies are very expensive. Diesel gets more expensive. I see that diesel will decline in small cars, and we are thinking heavily about that. What is the right answer? But in larger cars which go long distance, if we want to drive those cars, I think we need the diesel. Otherwise we will not achieve our goals. So it's our responsibility to keep the diesel clean, to keep it updated, and to keep the trust with our customers that they buy a technology which will also have a value in the future.
That's one more? Yes, I was just wondering, if I'm not mistaken, you went into black figures in the first half year, and now something happened in England.
Yeah, something.
Which will cost you probably lots of money only in the exchange rate. How's the company going to react to that?
Well, I can't tell you anything more now because we're a public traded company, but I can tell you what we said before. More than every fourth car we sell in the UK as a Vauxhall. We are also building cars in the UK. We have two factories. That helps us a little bit because we have some natural hedging, but our value creation is only about 25%. So we are very exposed to the pound, and we also judged that for the second half year, if things go like we then thought, and it's mainly depending on where the pound goes, and the pound, I personally believe, is now weak for some while, at least as long as the uncertainty is there, then this could impact us in the second half of up to 400 million. And so that's a big number. and we are working to still achieve our goal. But we have to see how things develop.
Gianluca.
Let's go back to EVs. Are incentives necessary for the commercial success? I mean, government incentives.
I think incentives help people over the barrier. There is a certain barrier because you don't know electric cars, because they are more expensive, they only amortize if you drive a lot. And it's clear if you see countries like Norway, that is fantastic market. So there it's going much faster. And I also do think with a product like the Ampera, that we will benefit a lot from the new incentive we have in Germany as an example. So I appreciate the incentives. I don't believe though this is a sustainable thing. This is just an initiation and this will not be there forever. So what we have to achieve is we need to build cars which are attractive and take away the fear about electromobility. And I hope with Ampera E we have exactly that. And then of course if now incentives help us to originally sell them to a number of people who can then spread the word and said, hey, you know what, I do really good with my Ampera E, then I think more people will jump on the wagon.
After the range, one of the limitation factors for electrical vehicles is the recharge network. How do you work on this subject and how do you lobby? Do you work with other car makers? How do you work to improve this charging network?
Yeah, we are obviously in all the markets we act. We are trying to work with the governments, with politics, that they understand that we need an infrastructure. We are not going to build this infrastructure. I think that's something the public hand has to do, and in most countries they do. That the fact that it's not there yet in many places, or it has a lot of gaps, and the fact that is exactly why we also addressed this. We addressed it with the large battery. So maybe in 10 years from now, when we have a much better charging net, then we can go with a smaller battery. But now we want to really take away this anxiety and not wait until everything is perfect, because a little bit like chicken and egg also. The investment into charging makes only sense if you have a lot of electric cars, which you don't these days.
But there is not a kind of federation of constructors to improve and to...
Well, there is consultation, but there's no cooperation or that we would be in the lead of something. We think with this reach now, we can be relatively relaxed and the infrastructure will come.
Yes. Do you see any alternative energy storage systems except for batteries?
Yeah, on the long run I see fuel cells. But they are mainly, I think, for long distance driving and again for heavier car driving. So obviously an SUV with fuel cells I can well imagine, but this will take more time because this technology is even more expensive, it's even less mature. It took us a few years to get to where the Ampera now is, because we took all the experience we had with the Volt and Ampera and built it into this car and designed an all-new car. We will now learn about how to do batteries better, even better, how to get cost out of the electronics, how to get cost out of the motor, because everything is expensive in these cars, because it's all relatively low volume compared to combustion engines. And by the way, the true question then for all our gearbox and engine factories is like every electric car we sell one combustion engine less. So there is a big transformation going on. But then, as times develop, because in the end the vision must be that we are CO2 neutral in our individual mobility, and then we will talk about fuel cells. And we have this partnership, as you may know, with Honda, which